this thing. Eventually realizing anything's happening. God, I'm so unused to talking so much. Alrighty. On to the power couple. The kids and friend head to the cafeteria for some dinner, and perhaps a talk with Noth. Perhaps a talking to. Perhaps a talking to with Noth. And that's awkward. Just a talk. Cafeteria hasn't fared as well as the other buildings, most notably the holes in the ceiling exposing the night sky. The floor is overrun with plant life, as are the walls and most of the tables. Some tables have been cleared for cleaning. When the trio enter, they can see a few lamps out, and the kitchen lights two shadows. Smell. And in there, in the kitchen, lights out, and in the kitchen, one light. Okay, this has to be fixed. From the kitchen loom. Two shadows. The smell of sizzling meat. Hey, Noth, Roth, we have visitors. How about some eggs and bacon? For dinner. They're always frying eggs no matter the time. Probably what they're cooking now. Oh, God. Come on in, take a seat. How many are we serving? 1 adult and 2 children. Teens. Oh, so we have some special guests then? Well then. Ruth, could you grab some of the venison in the fridge? Sure thing, I'll cook it up right here. You're a dear. Better than this, dear. Well, I'd venture you taste better. Oh, you. Jeez. Noth and Ruth laugh in the kitchen. The kids cringe. So do I. I'm the one who wrote this. Friend sits at the table. The kids join, sitting just a bit away from him. He smells from all the sweating earlier. Friend pays no mind, just listening to the cooking and the lovebirds making small talk. About 15 minutes of dead silence at the table. Noth and Ruth walk in, arms carrying plates of venison and eggs. They serve everyone and sit at the table with them. Well then, shall we get to introductions? Looks at the kids, smiling wide. Ruth does the same, eerily at the same time as Noth. Go ahead. Mike, internal cringe, still reeling from all the lover talk. Linda, internal cringe, still reeling from all the lover talk. I'm Noth, and this is my wifey, Ruth. Ruth leans against Noth. As you two can see, CAIRE can breed love between individuals, although these two are an extreme case. But isn't it lovely? Mike ignores this disgusting sight. So, you two are the chefs. I wouldn't have thought the operation would need any. We're not chefs, we just love to hunt and cook what we kill. Linda is off-put by this phrasing. We were just making some rations. The deer in these parts are quite delish. Cuts a piece of venison, forks it, and starts chewing, smiling. And what things had you cooked? Well, this won't get confusing. I have no girl voice or any voice whatsoever. Linda says, what things have you cooked? Killed and cooked. Friend stifles a laugh. The couple chuckled and looked to each other. Oh, that's picking up more than usual. Noth says, We aren't hunters by trade, but know how to stalk prey and deliver a single decisive blow. Friend, did I ever tell you about the insurgents over in Irta? They fried quite well. I don't believe you did, but let's not scare these two. They're not cannibals. Don't have to be a cannibal to appreciate a slowly burning body. Granted, if he hadn't pretended to be dead, I could have saved him some agony. That was his mistake, Ruth replies. That was his mistake. His fellows just surrendered normally. No need to torture them. Just one shot in each brow. Brow and it's all done. Dust hands. Lydia and Mike both hide their gut reactions at this callousness of what the couple just said. CAIRE has some truly insane members. They could have gained information from those people, but straight executing them. Yes, that's the problem there. Did you at least interrogate them first? Oh, good catch there, little guy. Mike doesn't appreciate being belittled, but says nothing. We asked them quite a few questions, got our answers, and then killed them. No prisoners of war. You could have used them as leverage against the Allies, couldn't you? Nope, they were the whole group. Nothing left to do but remove them and continue on with our work. So you were ordered to kill them, and what was your work? Ruth washed her hands. We weren't ordered to do any such thing. We were just there to investigate. We weren't told not to kill them, so we plugged one round to each, and one was cooked where he lay. I thought he might have been feigning death, and sure enough. Ruth and Knopf share a heartwarming chuckle. Now Knopf speaks passionately. Guess I don't have to read those parts, do I? Whatever. Our assignment was to liberate a nation from injustice. We, CAIRE, had just replaced the governing body that was filled with corrupt officials and inserted different leadership, people who could truly care about the citizens. But some of the people were still loyal to the previous rulers. They were protesting in the streets. So we were to stop it, and we did, quite handily too. Kids take some mental notes. CAIRE is successfully prone to violence against citizens. No arrests, just death. Members were not level-headed, rather they were kinda insane. Kind of. Perhaps psychopaths. The agenda of CAIRE includes overthrowing government bodies, likely how they got so big in the first place, and likely what they will do to Barack. Interesting. Have you been with CAIRE your whole life? Perhaps raised in a nation saved by them? Ah, now I get to the true introductions. Gather round, I've got quite a tale for you two, especially since you're from here. Like me. Ruth scooshes very, very close to Knopf, holding her arm around his waist. Friend moves to right beside the kids. The kids don't hide their expressions from Knopf's admittance. Eyes light up and jaws drop. Ugh. I know. When I learned how this place worked, I was in shock that my Knopf had anything to do with this place. I knew he was from here, and the stories he told me. But when we actually looked into Barack and how messy it is, my God! Knopf kisses her cheek, holding his wife closely. Turns his gaze to the kids. Let's start from the beginning. I was born and raised here. Not this town, but one near another of the borders. I always had trouble in school. The teacher wouldn't teach anything, and everyone was so far ahead. I would ask questions, but not get answers, even getting written up for not ceasing to ask when instructed to do so. Alright, I have to switch this sentence. Answers. I would even get written up. For not ceasing to ask when instructed to do so. Alright. Not ceasing to ask when instructed to stop. There. This was called acting out. All I wanted was an answer. This went on for years. My file was scarred with all these notes. My family shamed me to no end. I was told I wasn't trying hard enough. But let me tell you. Stands up, and Ruth goes with him. I was trying my damnedest to learn, but they wouldn't let me. Ruth rubs Knopf's back and nods compassionately. He calms a bit. No one would ever talk to me either, not in our group projects. They just kept me in the dark, but managed to stay in sync with each other. They were clearly communicating by excluding me. I was sabotage, pure and simple. Slams his fist on the table, jostling the eggs. Mike and Linda registered that Knopf is one of the least observant types. There's no fixing that. Just put him in a low-stress job and he'll be done with it. This has nothing to do with how they were screwed. Just a fact of life that this guy will never measure up to normal people. And he's being overly emotional about it. It's not hard to understand. He breathes deep. Sorry, I got carried away when reliving my nightmares. Let's continue. He sits once more. Ruth now stroking his head. This continued up until I was 15. I was standing in a park, watching the ducks, thinking they had it easy. A man sat beside me. I paid him no mind at first, but then he just started talking about how school staff would really learn to be observant themselves. That he knew someone who was being ignored by his classmates during projects, but they would all talk to each other on the phones and emails. It's clear that this boy was being bullied, but the school wouldn't even consider it. It's bullshit, he said. I was shocked. The kids know the obvious. This man knew of Knopf and was attempting to gain his trust by detailing his situation, sympathizing with it. No one could possibly believe otherwise. I couldn't believe he knew someone like me. The kids now know Knopf to be an idiot.
But it turned out to be Knopfy here. This man had learned of the situation and had a solution.
I learned that part later, but I was relieved to finally meet someone who understood. We talked about the stupidity of it all, how no one can be so observant as to read another's mind without talking to them, and how you can't learn without being told a thing. The kids know this to be false. The observant can read facial expressions and take into account the ideas presented by others and the reactions to other ideas to anticipate what that person will do. Most of the slang can do this. They can. Italicize that. We kept meeting there, discussing everything wrong with Burak. After the third time, he invited me to meet with a friend of his. And his eyes briefly dart to friend, but no one takes notice. I went with him to a home that turned out to be. I went with him into a home that turned out to belong to a national official, and there I was told the truth. That Burak is founded on lies, all to keep the people in line. I was aghast, but knew in my heart it was true. They offered to get me out, and I jumped at the chance. Alright, the kids want to know who the official is. They'll have to work to find out. So you just left. Surely there was a missing persons report. My death was faked. Fett, the man who met me in the park, arranged for an accident. My father drove a van, and we would all go out together to eat every Friday night. Even though they were ashamed I was in their family, they still had me join to assure I didn't cause problems while home alone. Didn't. That night, my father had acquired coupons for a restaurant with a seaside view on a cliff. En route, as we had climbed the swerving road that overlooked the sea, my father lost control of the van. Apparently, Vet had installed a remote control and triggered it at the exact right point. We crashed into the guardrail. I remember being pulled out and saw Vet pushing the car into the sea. My parents were groggy, but my older sister was trying to get out. I held the door shut, realizing what needed to happen. It's not like they were really a family anyway. A bunch of strangers as far as I'm concerned. Once the car went over, it smashed into the rocks, and the sea took care of the rest. Vet and I got into a car parked nearby, and we were off. By the end of the week, I was out of Burak, smuggled by Vet's friend, and finally free. Alright, CAIRE will kill anyone they wish, even if it's not necessary, to get what they want.
And that's where my story kicks in. Nafi had just joined CAIRE at the ripe age of 15. I had also just joined, and also 15. Vic dropped him off at a school to be trained, the same as mine. The same instructor, too. It was like a match made up in heaven. Hugs. We've been together ever since for all these 10 years. Why didn't you return?
Linda replies,
Why didn't you return after all this effort to leave?
I was invited by Vet to assist the others, who are here to fix the broken mess of Iraq. But I'm not interested in that. This place is far too gone. The people are lost. I say we just burn the place down, kill everyone, and salt the earth. Let someone else make use of the land. It's too fucked up as it currently is.
Hence the name of No Fucks. Right, well, I did suggest so many other cute names, but Vet thought this one was for the best.
I would have loved to be called Obliterator, honey, but if it was thought it was a bit much. Don't see why it fits so well.
Just a code name, I guess, but don't worry, I'll still call you Flair of Worlds. Tee.
They kiss, continuing. We are mostly here to recruit, and I guess that puts people off.
I can understand not wanting to save this place, but to slaughter everyone? That's a bit much to accept.
Well, you'd be safe. You guys would be joining us. The rest, I'm killing them by hand, too. Leans over to Linda.
Nafi has a lot of drama from here, as you've heard. Lots of repressed emotions, talking about his rage, taking out his rage, sadness, and everything on the people who wronged him. It's just. And with this mission, we can not only brutalize the evil people, but help our comrades rebuild Barak into a proper, loving nation. And I'm here to join him. As his wife, it's my duty to help my hubby with his stress.
Kisses. Alright, he wants to annihilate everyone in the country, not just these specific individuals who he perceived to have wronged him. That opinion of being sabotaged is itself wrong. He just failed to observe the obvious. At least to a normal native, that is. That's his fault. Also, Ruth is the perfect match for him. Violence incarnate. These two were just on the cusp of true despair. They were on a set path, but their parents died. Instead of keeping them on track, they were moved to a different one by a state agent. Their orphanage's headmaster won't do a thing to help. Ruth replies,
You poor dears. Well, rest assured, the rest of the world is a much better place.
That's the kind of shit I hate the most. Don't worry. With us, you'll be great.
We haven't decided to join yet. We're just going to talk to everyone and learn their stories. This one has been quite informative. I'd like to know what your official role is, what assistance you provide. Mike can figure this out, but wants more information, given the couple are so happy to talk. We're gods, hand-to-hand specialists. We don't need any weapons or armor. We can fight to our fullest in any condition. Did you notice our immense muscles? They make biceps. They're both very strong. We are gifted at finding the weakness of our enemies and exploiting them. Like that time, Ruth, remember when we were in that office and that guy had a kid with him? How could I forget? The young man was quite adamant not to hurt his dad. So we just beat the kid until the man gave in. Easiest weakness there is, love. Though it's our strength. They keep lovingly looking into each other's eyes. The cringe continues. Ruth, you say you joined CAIRE at age 15. Why? I was in the country. Go New Moon.
Oh Christ, I'm gonna try this.
I was just 10 when I...
Hell.
I was just 10 when I changed for the...
Okay, I can't do that.
When it changed for the better, CAIRE saved it from itself. Fighting had ceased after just a year of the new doctrine. Our wars ended, and programs started up to teach us a new way of thinking. We all help each other. It sounded far-fetched that such a thing would work, given the nature of man, but it took hold, and strongly so. All of our leaders practiced this community mindset, and it trickled down to the rest of us. I spent 5 years experiencing the change. I was enamored by the goals of world peace, and the fact that CAIRE was actually succeeding. Despite the rumors I have my family, friends, and neighbors, and the paranoia about my joining, I did so anyway. Eventually I came to see things my way.
What rumors?
They thought the citizens were being tortured and brainwashed, coerced into submission to CAIRE's ideals. But you needed You needn't do this to get people to follow your simple rules. You save this stuff for criminals, like that office man or the insurgents. The idea that CAIRE would force the common people to believe nothing could be further from the truth. What CAIRE does is demonstrate the proper way to live. Those who disagree make up all sorts of stories to badmouth them. Give people enough time, and they'll come around together. Right, friend? Ruth only thinks criminals are subject to the tenets of terror. Thinks only. But CAIRE tells them who the criminals are. He just follows CAIRE blindly, assuming all will be well. Toph does his own thing. The two make a terrifyingly brutal couple, who routinely hold a kind of self-imposed obliviousness. You betcha, I love my long tongues to the uneducated. There are some who never quite talk, but we can't convince everyone. Some just fall. Shrugs and smiles. Toph and Ruth smile back. What do you do during these talks? I stand around. With or without the clamps. Those are already in place. Do you take me for an amateur? The last time I saw you had the electricity to a pretty low setting. I had to work up. Takes longer than needed. Who's the specialist here? I don't like that lineup. So I saw a pretty low setting. It'll take longer than needed. Be clear what he's talking about. What is Ruth a code name for? Or is this your real name? I can't make true name without Pet's permission. He's not here. I'll tell him you said that. But just because he's here doesn't mean we can't. Lax our protocols. Well observed, Mike. Now I knows that by my noffy, my little secret. My codename, though, I can tell you in full. Ruthless. So, like Noff, you will do anything to ensure criminals are dealt with swiftly and effectively. Alright, I'm not gonna... Alright, started, I guess, then. Those in this case, I suppose I should say intruders. God, this is a messed up little girl voice. My nieces sound nothing like this. Yep. The couple look lovingly into each other's eyes. Again. And now this is getting cold. Perhaps we should just finish up. Continues to eat. And afterwards, let's head to Rad. Electronics is just a couple buildings away, and I bet you're wondering how we got the power back up. Hey, Mike? Nudges. Yeah, sure. How far is electronics from cafeteria? Let's see. Very far. In that case... Probably campus, but I bet you're wondering how he got power back up. The five finished the dinner, finishing in eggs. The little birds washed the dishes and get back to making rations, all while making lovey-dovey small talk. The other three head off electronics to speak with the radio man. The electronics building is in fair condition, not intact, but fair enough to not ruin the electronics inside. Good enough. Alright, this is doubly true due to Xerox design, where all the electronic products and parts are incredibly sturdy and reliable. As such, many pieces of equipment still function normally, they just lack power. Friend leads the teens into the building and up to a room on the second floor, where Rad has made his workshop. This was once a classroom and storage room, separated by a wall that has collapsed. The stable desks and tables have been cluttered into the Good desks and tables have been cluttered into various groups, each containing different types of equipment, spare parts, computer monitors, CPUs, radios, cameras, and others. They enter, see a man in his mid-20s carefully taking apart a security camera, eyes lit. He doesn't turn to address him, just continues with his study. Friend speaks. I need water. Ugh. Alrighty, where am I? Hey there, Rad. Got some people here to see what you're up to. Rad places down a camera and tools, looks at her friend, walks up energetically, shakes his hand. Good to see you back so soon. You're really good at this. We were lucky, that's all. Found these two talking up a storm on the first row we watched, and they hate this place. They wanted to change, like we do. Isn't that great? The kids note that friend is misconstruing why they are here, even the circumstances of how they met friend. They know for certain that friend is not trustworthy for any information they get from him. He's just so prone to changing details, there's no telling what's the truth. No amount of observation can penetrate pure idiocy. Ah, really? Well then, welcome to my humble shop, bows grandly. I was wondering just now, but since you're giving the tour, I think I can take a small break. Actually, you two might be just the people I need. You've been all night, haven't you? And the day before? Take a break, man. Who could stop when they have access to these wonderful works of art? Let me show you. Brings over the camera. That should not be highlighted. This thing has been here for decades, and in not the best storage conditions. Yet look, nothing is corroded. All the parts appear to be in proper order, and there is only slight damage to the outer frame. Everything inside is in perfect order, I think. I have no idea what I'm seeing. Oh, come now, it's not that different from a car battery. But it's alright, I owe some experts here. Could you tell me how this is made? Any small detail will do. Eyes are glistening. Mike takes the lead. Get close to Rad. Even explaining overly cumbersome detail, the obvious. We don't have training in manufacture, but we are aware of the durability, reliability, and use. Nothing we make will break on us. There's no point in making something that's just going to break. For cameras, which have all sorts of uses, such as security, exploration, and a number of different environments, and documentation. And in a number of different environments and documentation, we need them to survive their use and ensure accurate recording of information that will not deteriorate. I can go into detail about every use I've seen for a camera, and will likely wow you in how efficient they are compared to wherever you're from. Rad is partially drooling, wipes his lip. That would be beyond perfect. How about tomorrow? Are you staying overnight? We will be. I can't return to the orphanage and expect to return here easily. Our headmaster is incompetent. Hard to believe what I've heard about there, but Nafi is very specific in his opinion. Something about burning it all down, no survivors, that sort of thing. We just came from there. We're not all that obsessed with destruction. Just him, really. And I'm sorry I had to see Noph and Ruth's lovey-dovey talk. I don't eat near them to avoid seeing all the fork sharing the like. Then tomorrow, it is, on your second day as new CAIRE initiates. Actually, we're not decided officially, though we are drawing close to a decision. We've been listening to your people's stories, and I must admit, I did not expect so many differing personalities and ideologies amongst you. Proofread looks to Linda for that one. CAIRE caters for all sorts, all walks of life. What was yours? I was a sportscaster for a small TV station. It was exciting at first, but all the games just blend together after a while. I started to add some pizzazz to the show by working with the equipment. It helped, but the actual commentary was just not doing it for me anymore. I always enjoyed working with electronics more, so I left for a more exciting profession. CAIRE, I knew, always needed capable people. Really, is this really? CAIRE, I knew, always needed capable people, so I enlisted, and here I am. How would you learn about CAIRE? My homeland has been with CAIRE for over a century. I know the principles by heart, since I'm a full member and have been on active duty for some years. I now know the tenets. I agree with them wholeheartedly, a necessity for world peace. What are the tenets? We were told CAIRE means... That is a question mark indeed. We were told CAIRE means community-assisted integration and its religious extensions, but haven't been informed much about the tenets. Only fully privileged members are directly told. The learning method is by observation. Isn't that agreeable with you? The kids can't deny this adult principle. Although they already know that torture and other methods of coercion are part of it, as well as lying, propaganda, and misconstruing information. I can talk about them in general. The tenets represent the need to convince others to join rather than keep to ourselves. Those who do wish to join will need to be re-educated. We are responsible to save them from the wrongful ways. We will go to extremes to ensure they understand. Everyone thinks the same on this. As I said, CAIRE will take anyone willing to do what's necessary for world peace. We may be different in a variety of ways, but we all share the same goal. Regarding off, that will keep him from going too far. Not to interrupt this conversation, but I think it's reached its end, at least for now. Once we join, maybe we'll learn more. For now, though, I'm quite interested in how you got this place up and running. Power, cameras, the kitchen, this would have taken a team of people to put together. Well, North and Ruth love cooking, so they set to that. We just had to handle the power. Grease is really responsible for that end, but together we repaired any damage to the wiring for the appliances we needed, recalibrated the cameras, and moved them to locations we needed. Alright. I used we needed too many times. This took a few days, but a great fun time for us both. Alright. Appliances we needed. Locations we wanted. It's not every day you get to work on a big project with your girlfriend. Nudges. She's not my girlfriend, she's just a colleague I respect. And she feels the same about me. How would you know? You've been talking to each other? Well, we had to fix up this place, didn't we? You know, lots of people can talk while working and not just interrogating. So you joined CAIRE for excitement. What brought you to this mission specifically? Had you heard about our technological standards and wanted to look? I was asked. An agent told me that my skills would be of use. They had already found the waterway and broke through the university, but it was dilapidated. They didn't think anything would work, and on top of this, they couldn't bring in outside supplies. If they did, then anyone looking at the equipment we touched would see non-bureauc parts, betraying their presence. This required the best skills, and so they reached out to me in Greece. Let me tell you, that woman has a way with mechanics. It seems everyone is paired up with someone else. Surly and Swift, North and Ruth, Friend and Scout. Friend specifically sorts. And you in Greece. We're not paired like that, we just worked on one project. It's like Friend and Scout, two people who don't get along were paired up. Granted, in this case, it was to keep Friend from getting too excited and saying too much. He's very trusting. It's in my name. Big proud smile. And Swift is only with Surly for necessity. He's our messenger. He's very fast and has extremely accurate hearing. Acute. Hearing. He'd put a bureaucrat like yourself to shame. Though, once I get the walkies up and running, he'll be on reserve in case we have to go dark. Can't be too careful in this land. I'm honestly surprised we haven't been found out already. I'm still talking too quickly. You are quite far removed from sight. So, how much have you managed to learn? I love the official design, but it's not intuitive at all. There weren't even instructions, but once I spent a few hours on this, I figured how it all worked. Thanks to the camera. It's just so exhilarating to pick apart and learn how a foreign piece of equipment works, like a big puzzle. That's an exclamation point on it. And the days with Greece, working on power and everything, the fact that we're working our finest, Fixing. The fact that we're working to our fullest capacity in a hostile nation, where we could be discovered and killed at any moment, it's just, there's nothing like it. Another exclamation point. Alright, Ryan has been gauged. He has fairly normal observation skills. He can figure out things on his own. Very productive in a stressful environment. Shame he's with a cult of lunatics. You said you were working on walkies. How about a full radio? Ah, good point. I've already put together 2 radios, but those are only needed for longer ranges in the campus. They went to the scouting groups. Scout was giving one, and Tender has the other. For our local area, I was figuring out the power design of the cameras so I can minimize the radio. Local area, I was figuring out the power design of the cameras so I could minimize a radio into a handheld, i.e. a walkie-talkie. It was Tender, the other field agent scouting for people. I believe at a carnival for some reason. Yes, he said he had good feelings, so checked on that last night. Circus. Haven't heard back from him since. Kind of worried, actually. He's pretty good about checking in. Could you page him? I mean, I could, but that would expose him. Well, I took care of that part. He has a receiver that responds to the same signal as his radio, a pager, as this boy suggested. Sorry, I don't think I asked for your names. And, Mike. I'm Rad, the radio guy. Not an original name, but it works. Awkward. I think I'll give him a ring. The radio is over here. Alright, this would be its own thing. Pizza delivery calling in. Olives and anchovies. Rad here, wondering why you haven't reported back from yesterday. Just getting a little worried about something went wrong. I can handle myself, but I do apologize for not clarifying sooner. I have good news. I have identified a young boy, 11 years of age, who is a perfect fit for us. That's great to hear, Tender. What's his story? He's a circus performer over here, named Timothy. His father passed, and the mantle has been passed. His father died. The mantle has been passed to him. However, the boy does not know his father's signature act, the big seller of this place. He's been trying to gain the necessary skills to figure that out. But the other performers are being extremely resistant. They practice too fast, make no effort to teach him. Basically sabotage. The ringmaster has verbally and emotionally abused the boy and even struck him. Both parties are indignant, overly obsessed with learn on your own and blame him for troubles they caused by not assisting him. This thing just pause. Better not have. Alright, where was I? I've only been talking for 30 minutes, it feels like an hour. My poor tongue. That's horrifying. Not too different from these 2 youths I found. They were set to progress along a specific career path, but a state agent forced them into something else, all because she didn't like how they spoke to her. Truly unprofessional and not adult behavior. Their orphanage headmaster could fix the problem immediately, but won't because he doesn't like being told he has to work. The kids don't correct friends, flagrant altering of the facts because they hate both the people he's talking about. Mike interrupts, though. Need more water. What is your role in CAIRE, Tender? Curious, very well then. I am extremely proficient in stealth and capture. I procure people for CAIRE without any witnesses to their disappearance. They may arrive in less than ideal shape, but that never interfered with friend before. Oh, the stories we could tell. Not the time nor place, unfortunately. Brad, inform Yvette I have left Monica in charge of the boy. She's going to instruct him on how to outshine the other performers and prove to the ringmaster that he's a vital asset to them. This will enforce the idea that learning on one's own is cruel, when direct teaching can accomplish far grander results and much quicker. Here's Monica. Brad turns to address Linda, who doesn't speak into the mic. An AI in a tablet. She educates people, as we briefly discussed. Returns to Tender. I'll tell him. Anything else? Just that I hate the way this country seems to work. Segregating people based on observation skill alone. Never lending aid, even when not doing so interferes with their own work. And a dozen grown men and women blaming all the problems onto one young boy. I see great potential in Timothy, greater likely than any other in Iraq. No offense to Linda or Mike. At this point, I will safeguard them. Safeguard him from the others. I do believe the ringmaster has it in him to permanently silence young Timothy. The loss to CAIRE would be unimaginable, so I'd rather not lose such a promising agent. Hold on, did they introduce themselves to him? No, they did not. There we go. Put that in there. Alright. I hear you. I'll bring you back in a few days, once Timothy blows away his next performance. After that show, I will reveal myself and teach him the truth of the world, reinforcing everything that Monica has been telling him. And then I will return with Timothy. Sounds good. We'll have this place shipshape by the time you return. Good fortunes out there. Over. Alright, that goes here. Alright, I've got work to do. You can stay here, but don't touch the radio. Otherwise, you can explore more if you like, but it's getting late. Perhaps head in? I think that's a good idea. Where will we be staying? Not with Ruth and not with. Alright, let's rephrase the ordering of those letters. Not with Ruth or Noth. I don't want to hear what they do when alone at night. I quite like the sounds. Friend, please stop eavesdropping creepily. They can have their privacy. I did nothing wrong. The kids doubt this. I suppose you'll be sleeping in the main office. There are some beds there. We did prepare for bringing people in. Let's get to that. Linda, we'll show ourselves out. I'm coming with you. Mike snaps. Not after what you just said. Not after what you just said. We need some space after that. But let's let them go down on their own. Surly's on cams. It's not like anything's going to happen to them. Friend pouts, turns away and slowly walks off. I know he's a handful and creepy, but he's the most friendly and genuine person I know. Thanks, we'll be off now. See you tomorrow for that talk. You betcha. Linda and Mike head for a different room and talk in private. Alright, their findings. First, let's cover the accidental meeting. He quickly abandoned that plan. I don't think he didn't even try to hide the fact that they were watching us. His pitch was good, though. Despite only having overheard us, he came up with a story that sounded plausible. He's a torture specialist who talks for a long time with his subjects. He does some reprogramming. His skills of persuasion ought to be ignored. That being said, Friend is a complete buffoon. He ignores what everyone else says and even the orders of his commanders. He's too free and easy, joking all the time, even spying on Nov and Ruth at night. He may be a fool, but is naturally cunning. No forethought to shift an idea from one realm into another. His ability to brainwash is uncanny. We wouldn't fall for this, but if enough time was spent, if he were to keep shifting details around, lesser minds would fall. If all of CAIRE's torturers and propagandists are like him, then no wonder they've risen to their current power. Worse yet, we can't glean reliable information from the man. His own memory may be rewriting itself after each lie, hence his playful attitude and disregard for others. CAIRE is truly an extremist or terrorist. CAIRE is clearly an extremist terrorist religious organization. Torment, Really, any method of brainwashing they train to the highest degree. It is a core practice and must be one of the tenets. When Vet brought up the style and persuasion used in his office, long talks must be the propaganda. What up the style persuasion? Must be propaganda. Are you really going to? I really hate that it does that. Okay. The hard truths are likely various implements being physically applied to this man to convince him. And it worked. If Friend were chosen for this mission by Fett, then he must be one of the best. We have to keep him on a leash. Scout is the real problem between them. We never noticed him until he announced himself. He was just yards away. No doubt his awareness of his environment is of equal skill. He also is a proper officer, saluting Vet and detailing events. Friend may be dangerous in unpredictability, but conversely, Scout is not someone we can account for either. We won't know where he is, if he's listening, watching, although he couldn't stop Friend's impulses. He's given up on that front. He may be one of the few here who can pick up on us. However, he won't act immediately. If suspicious, he'll watch first. We'll have time to step up our acting and deflect his gaze. The gaze of Surly, though, may be impossible to avoid. His eyes were methodically scouring the screens, closing only when he reached the bottom corner and opening the opposite side of the top. No blinking otherwise. This is an odd method. We merely need to glance and see all screens at once. But his way is efficient and effective. As long as we're in the purview of a camera, we can't hide anything from him. He must be aware of visual cues, body movements, lip reading. We'll have our work cut out for. We'll have to work. You'll have our work cut out for us. We need to... We perform to our fullest potential and develop as we go. No relaxing until we speak again indoors. Good thing they're only concerned with external security. They needn't watch their own men. Unless Scout is around, or I suppose Swift if he's fast, as his name implies. Fair. Having said this, I don't think Surly is an insurmountable threat. He didn't command Friend to leave, just stated it. He's not used to being in charge. He may immediately report anything suspicious, but he's not the one we need to convince otherwise. Especially since you already pissed him off. It's not like he did anything about it. Vet, though. Vet is a good salesperson, uses good reasoning, and hit us where we were vulnerable during that conversation. No, I don't need that part. He knows what he's doing, more so than us. Even Friend obeys him. That is scary. That is scary. This man is commander in name, demeanor, and how his subordinates treat him. Fortunately, he is conceited in his observational skills. If he believes something to be true, there is no counter, no way the truth could be wrong. He can't fathom something like this. We just need to convince Vet that we're truly interested, and the others will have a hard time convincing him. Otherwise. Alright, I need to make this more readable. The others will have a hard time convincing him otherwise. Will they even bother? Noth will kill us upon the very thought that we're not interested. Ruth will break us, and Noth will finish. To think that someone raised here could be so stupid. Even the less even the less capable citizens have common sense. Some of the kids we've taught weren't up to normal grade, but could make simple decisions correctly. The fact that Knopf reached his teens despite his incredible stupidity is surprising. Perhaps his parents didn't want to have it be widely known they birthed a dunce. They must have pulled strings to keep him in normal classes. They had to save face, not have their name tarnished with an idiot child. This is partially their failure, trying to keep their child in an environment that he can't measure up in. There are other places he could have been put, and he'd be happy and fine. Doesn't change the fact he helped kill them. He's a psychopath all on his own. Well, not completely, as he does care for Ruth and probably the others here. Anyone not of Barack must seem like the best people in the world to him. This argument is of no importance to our task. Knopf and Ruth are extremely violent, callously so. They'd rather execute prisoners than use them for information or political coercion. They just love to harm in any way they can. No cause, no reason. We'll just have to avoid them, which shouldn't be difficult since they're entirely obsessed with each other. A rampaging elk could sneak by them. Except, we need to know who the official is, the extent of his involvement, the dates for when Vet was here, and the extradition of Knopf. Agreed, but it's too difficult to bring up naturally. We may have to abandon it. The name, at the very least, we should get. At worst, we could probably just ask Friend if he knows, and Friend won't think anything of the question. That'll be the backup plan. You'll have to do it. He likes you. You're better at getting them to trust you, it seems. Even Red is infatuated. If it makes getting information later easier, then so be it. He's excited to explore our tech, and we know how it works. He's the easiest we've met to manipulate. Just some casual conversation, learn a bit more about his experience with CAIRE, maybe get some clues about the tenets. Though we know those tenets revolve around violence. Learning the exact details are of no importance anymore. It's just information at this point. Still, I guide the conversation that way. He won't notice the shift. He'll be too entranced learning about our electronics. Be careful. His observation skills are fairly normal compared to the others. He knows how to experiment properly and figure things out on his own. He'll make a better citizen than Knopf could ever hope. Especially since he works better in a stressful environment. That doesn't mean he's socially aware. On that point, Tender would be an issue, should he return here during our stay. We often learn about him from the others. So far, he sounds like a reprogrammer. He told a story about caring about this Timothy boy and the abuse the kid suffered, then said he'd been asked to care. What was the point with the story if he was going to oust his own intentions? Brad didn't seem to notice. I'll just ask him when we talk tomorrow. I don't think we need more than a description and location for Tender. We know he's an abductor, likely not as good as Scout would be, otherwise their code names would be switched. If we can handle Scout, the authorities can handle Tender. Almost done with this document. We're going to have to report all this to them. It kills me, but I don't want CAIRE to fuck up Bjork. Even if we have to live as teachers, I prefer our ways to the pure idiocy of CAIRE. I wonder if they would even open our letter. They didn't help us with the state agent, despite everything we did for them with our parents. We'll have to address it to the station and to them inside the envelope to ensure delivery. Where do we even begin? With CAIRE itself. They must be at least vaguely aware of CAIRE. If it's so high on the world stage, especially since they must be converging other nations into subservience using the ones already under their influence. Doesn't exactly roll off the tongue there. CAIRE is an organization set on world domination. Too cliche. They won't bite till we start with that. How about the channel? They can verify it exists and investigate the campus. It must be on record. Just let them know an external hostile organization tunneled through and are now occupying an old university. Not just hostile, extremely violent. It is excessively prone to kill citizens of any nation to accomplish any minor task. Nov could have just disappeared, and the parents would label it a runaway. They wouldn't bother searching. Fetch's choice was to toss the family van into the sea. But anyone investigating would find one body missing, and assuming it was washed away while the others remained inside, with the doors closed, would be immensely suspicious. Just vanishing outright would have been sensible. The cops would look, but shouldn't immediately suspect outside interference. With this official, the tracks could easily be covered. This was to give Nov closure, nothing more. These members aren't level-headed, that's for sure. Insane, psychopaths, fanatics will do us a label. As a label. They just hope that all of CAIRE's promises work, as impractical as these dreams of world peace are. Such is the control mechanism. Promise something everyone strives for. The members need only join and politely follow. Whether it's inside your own borders or invading the next target and slaughtering rebels. This will work for now. We will shore up the details as we learn more. We should mention that there are 11 present and 1.5 unaccounted. We can't be certain that Timothy won't be one of them soon. Linda nods. Then the rules of engagement for the next few days. We avoid talking about our parents. These people can't find out they were detectives. Nor that the work was classified, including their documents about training us. Their death was technically an accident, so we can sell that just fine. Agreed. We best head back to the office. We were here to look around the state of the building, wondering how structures of Iraq could fall to disrepair so easily. We have not seen ruins before, but it does make sense. That is interesting. We can use this as an excuse to enter a building together during the day. We're discussing this construction versus nature. Sounds good. Oh, Christ. Alright, part 4 is all fine. Ugh. So fatiguing this is. Oh, it does catch the breath. That's unfortunate. The next morning, Linda and Mike wake up to a gentle stir. They turn to see a friend standing before them, leaning down, peering just over their faces. He wields a wide grin. The duo hold in their surprise at seeing this creeper's face nearly touching theirs. Wakey, wakey! Usually people wait to be let in with a knock. No knocks needed. We're good with each other, right? I do this with everyone. Waves a hand dismissively. You were just asleep, not changing or anything, so I waited patiently for these 5-ish minutes. You sat and watched us for 5 minutes. Nope, I stood here. Mike acts unfazed and stands. Breakfast already? Breakfast ready. Off and Ruth love cooking at all hours. Early in the morning, maybe rations instead. Of course. Friend either ignores or completely misses their sarcastic comment. Or completely misses Mike's sarcastic comment. He doesn't specify. I'll go get some then. There's no need. We have plenty stored in each building, just in case. Won't Fed have an issue if... Nope, we'll replace them before he finds out. Alright, leaves briefly to grab 3 rations. The kids stare at each other, sighing painfully. Friend returns and they eat together. Friend strikes up conversation, but Linda and Mike are busy eating just to get some space from this guy ASAP. Shall we go see Fisher next? He's always an early bird. Sounds like a plan. Linda and I can go ourselves. That is a date. Let's go, fellas. Alright, the kids resign themselves to having to be chaperoned by a creeper. The 3 approach the Earth Sciences building. This particular building is probably in the worst shape of all. Holes everywhere and trees growing through the walls. Fitting almost. Fortunately, it's not collapsed, allowing the agents to reach the surface after arriving via the underground channel. That needs a period there. Why was that not caught? This building served its whole purpose, existing. Unlike the electronics wing, the kids are ushered downstairs rather than up. The only one here is Fisher, and he's in the basement. The basement itself is connected by a 1-story flight of stairs, with a door on either end. Inside is nothing like a typical basement. In fact, it's more of a site along a shoreline. A river extends wall to wall, disappearing into the darkness in either direction. A small jetty extends partially into this waterway, just enough to hold 2 small boats, currently housing just 1. This jetty is old, but has been repaired well, apparently using supplies scrounged and repurposed from this basement. All around are crates, barrels, ropes, and a tiny hut with a window and a chair. There are also 2 kegs of fuel and an open barrel of some sort of oil or grease beside. Fisher is applying this stuff to the motors. Of the boat. The motor. He'll be doing this for the entire conversation. He doesn't look up to greet the 3. Freeze! You're under arrest. You know I can hear you coming down, right? I heard some smaller steps. Must be the 2 you found. Your names? Linda, and this is Mike. You're probably the first I've seen friend pick on who hasn't erupted. I'm impressed. No blanking and uppity about this idiot. Just taking his stride. Keep working. Ah, come on. I thought that was a good one, too. So, this is the infamous canal? I'm surprised it wasn't purposefully collapsed when the university closed. It technically was, but that was natural. Must have been that way since the canal was discovered. Good for us, but boy, did it take a while to clear up. Which way was the cave-in? To the south, some miles. How long did it take your team to do that? It must have been quite the undertaking. Wasn't involved. Was just hired to run the boats through the treacherous system. How was it dangerous? Multiple tunnels that split in all sorts of directions. All in pitch black and no way to call for help. But I always had a special water sense, a feel for little tremors. These waters are no different. I could feel the right path. Easiest pay I ever earned. So you ensured friend of the others got here safely. And in case of cave-ins. Where were you before? In the country they all entered from. Teaching CAIRE recruits how to work a boat and act as fishermen. Act? For the spy stuff, to look natural in a small island nation. I didn't care much. I was paid well and I could still fish. So, you're just a fisherman?
Yep, have been for 15 years. Didn't pay much, but I was happy.
And how did you actually get involved with CAIRE?
Friend of mine worked for him. Had to pose as a fisherman for a job, so I taught him. After becoming indistinguishable from a native and finishing his mission, he told them about me and I was hired as an instructor. I showed them how to fish, just the nets and all the natural motions of a seaman.
Huh. Are you returning from our people, or just maintaining things here?
At most 5, we can't have too many after all. Just maintaining, but I hope you'll be done with all the infiltrating after this last group. I miss the sea. I miss the sea. Yeah.
You're the first we've spoken to who's not that interested in being here. Do you have any real attachments to CAIRE?
Nope. I can agree with their goal, no matter how unlikely they are to succeed. But countries are joining, so I guess they're good at it. Good for it?
You bet we are.
Well, anyway, unless you're interested in boat maintenance.
I'm just surprised you're not trying to sell us on joining.
Doesn't matter to me. Even if all this fails, I'll just go back home. I do have a boat right here.
Oh, please, like you'd run off like that.
I do have some honor. Aside from you, I wouldn't just ditch the others. I don't want to get on the bad side of a global power.
Come on, you know you like me.
What would they do?
What would they do to you?
Probably just kill me or something. Nothing ceremonious. CAIRE wouldn't bother to make a show of it. Not worth it. But we'd have have a nice long chat. And I'd get you to come to your senses. At any rate, it doesn't look like you've decided to join. It's up to you in the end. Just be sure you're willing to accept the consequences.
We're very likely to join, just have to make sure there's nothing we can't handle.
See you around.
He'd back up the stairs. Grease and one other left. He's not one for words, but he gets the point across. Well, shall we head to the garage? If that's where Grease and the last one are.
Alright, and now I have to deal with 3 lady voices. I'm sure that'll go well. The bus garage is in fairly good shape. It was built sturdy and has weathered the years well. Only a few holes mar the ceiling, and the floor is clear of most puddles. This is because it sloped downwards towards the 2-foot wide, the two bus wide doors. Despite this design, a fissure in the ground has retained a sizable amount of water. The crack is 1 foot wide in most parts and 20 feet long, a small pond. Of the garage's 3 dozen bus capacity, only about half remain, only one in feasibly working condition at that. Some of the workbenches and tables have been scooched to one bus in particular, where 2 women spend their time. One is under the bus, while another is seated and reading an old magazine. Honestly surprised that magazine is still in readable condition. Friend and his recruits walk through the main doors and directly to the working agents. The one seated is aware of their presence even before they cross the threshold of the doorway, but makes no motions to them. Well, hello there, Stomp. Fancy meeting you here. No response. I figured. Well, we've got the 2 newest additions to our little group here. It's time for you both to introduce yourselves like friendly senior agents. Stomp glances over. Why is your code name Stomp? Did you stomp on people's necks? Her eyes brighten a bit. Well, you're on the ball. She stands near a full 6 feet, talking with some excitement. Not the neck, the heart. It's very metaphorical to me. That's why I chose the code name Heart Stomper. I'm surprised you thought of crushing someone to death. Stomp could have been any number of things. You seem to understand us a bit better now. Yesterday must have been quite informative.
Without question, glances the friend, more than we ever wanted. Disgusted look to the other side. He leaves that kind of impression, but he means well. Give him time, and he'll grow on you. Ah, shucks, m'lady. Curtsies. Stomp turns away, forcing a cough. Linda changes the subject. She doesn't care about Stomp's awkwardness towards the creeper. How's the bus going? I'm not trained in mechanics. Grace, care to take a break? I suppose. I'll need more parts anyway. She scoots her trolley back and frees herself from the underside of the bus. In her early 20s, this mechanic is quite the looker. All these pipes and struts have been prepared physically, but I have to find where those oil problems are coming from. It won't be operational for another day. Fortunately, I don't have today's plans, so my date's open. I'm sure I won't die from doing this. Well, if Rad were here, couldn't you do both? She looks away, hiding a bit of a blush. I don't think so. Of course not. She can't concentrate if he's within reach. Still looking away, blushing more. So, I think we've bought fruit already, and another woman at that. Good to meet you, young lady. He extends out an arm at an awkward angle to avoid looking at anyone. Linda, shakes Grease's hand. The other one is Mike. Can I hear your story? We have heard most of everyone else's. The blush fades. She turns to friend. You seriously told yours in full. They haven't asked, and I don't think I need to tell. I like the mystery. I think you should. They should know if they're getting involved how things are, especially with you. I'll go first, then you, looks to Grease, and then friend can tell his story, tell his tale and family history. Finally looks to friend, having recovered from the cute curtsy. Even asked, and I kind of like the mystery. But if I really must. Alright, that. Gasps. You mean I finally get to tell? Please do tell, Stomp. Friend pouts. I like to hurt things with my fists, or this baton I fashioned from a pipe, or make a makeshift gun here, I love to craft new implements of violence from anything I can find. CAIRE always needs more militants to fight their enemies. I'm here to handle any unwanted guests and to punish anyone who would harm the team. So a standard, no, a master of combat. I like that. That's a reason there's not a full team here. I can handle more than a dozen trained men. Even this armor is custom made of vulcanized rubber. The buses over yonder won't be needing it. Alright. Why did you join? I grew up in the principles of CAIRE. I feel them with my heart. Devout. With my propensity towards debilitation, I enlisted in CAIRE's martial sector on my 18th birthday. My survivalist skills have come in handy, and I have improved on them many times over. No matter the environment or supplies, I can make armor and weapons. Even some of friends' favorite tools were crafted by me. For this mission, I am the captain of the guard, the command of the command echelon. Met Surly, we're the same rank. Oh, it is a pleasure to meet such a distinguished woman. I believe you and I will get along well. I wouldn't get your hopes up. No offense, but you're new, not officially with CAIRE, even if you decide to join up. You'll work with us, but there's no bonds between myself and you two. Should you measure up, Should you not measure up, I'll cut you down. Not an issue. We're more capable than you give us credit.
Clearly, I'd expect that warning to shake you a little bit. That's not to say that I agree with their words.
It's fine. They're with me, so they're good kids. Don't worry, you two. I can protect you from Stomp. I've found her weakness. A little tickle to the back of her neck. Stomp glances away, saying nothing. The kids don't care.
Well, let's continue on, shall we? I, too, grew up in CAIRE Nation. I know all about them, their goals, and some of the unsavory things they must do to accomplish them. I seek the thrill of overcoming challenges in a dangerous environment.
That rad.
And CAIRE has provided me with many exciting jobs. Yet Rad and I are alike this way. Much like how Stomp here looks to friend and feels alone.
Chris!
Don't poke me and I won't go after you, okay? Anyway, I handle all the mechanical problems here. I've had quite the time trying to unravel this place's designs. It's also involved with the structure of the circuitry made to last. Well, with some maintenance intended, I and Rad dealt with the power days ago. Currently, I'm fixing up this bus in case we need a vehicle in emergency. We can be found at any moment, and if the boat is unavailable, we'll need an alternative.
Why wouldn't the boat be available? Fisher may run off.
No, in case we need an escape while he's doing a supply run, or getting more people that we're scheduled for.
When will you be bringing them in?
I don't really know. I think a week would be fine. Fit will tell us regardless.
So we have half of you to kill Brock's problems, some who like the job, like yourself, and one who wants to destroy everything.
Well, North has his obsessions, and Fit will keep him from going nuts. Ruth as well. All sorts join CAIRE. It just helps if you're passionate about their goals. Regardless of what you must do to accomplish them. Though I prefer to avoid the friend's side of things.
You have nothing to worry about.
It's the sounds that worry me.
I can keep him quiet. You can't. I need to keep the conversation going. Despite our differences and why we're here, the job's the same. To prevent any possible war from breaking out by changing Pirate from the inside. You'll gain followers and convert the nation into one that's friendlier towards the rest of the world. But you still have your long talks. It sounds, perhaps over an open fire. Well...
Wait, do you actually know what friend's job is?
Well, it wasn't hard to guess. Just a friendly recruiter. We understand that torture is sometimes needed to gain information. Garnish obedience, if done right, can be quite efficient. Stomp nods of approval. Friend starts stifling, touched so the kids understand him.
Well, since I don't care, why not talk about our history with CAIRE? Your family line of torturers, executioners, terrorists, things that would be labeled criminal if they weren't to guarantee the unification of the world.
So, this is like a family business for you. Your skill must be immense. You'd fit in well here. Ever think about moving? Hey now, let's not go off the deep end. Besides, we're all here to fix Brock's problems. Let's not go into any more unnecessary details, okay? Do you know how to flay the skin properly? It can easily kill, you know. Friend flinches. I have to perform much needed unnecessary surgery. Friend winces. Twists his neck. Do you know how to remove teeth with pliers, or perhaps smash them out? Friend's face nearly in a squeal. You can just dissolve them. Friend breaks out into a smile while holding himself in a hug. He writes to himself frantically. All the ways he knows to harm the mouth area. It goes on for 4 straight minutes and at a very fast pace.
I haven't seen him do this before. I suppose this is what it means to be raised into a profession. Though I imagine part of it is withdrawal. It's probably been a month since he's mutilated some poor bastard.
You don't seem too concerned.
About what? He'll talk it over a Stomp and then return to normal by morning. I also don't care what needs to be done to the people. I handle the machines. Like machines, some people just need to be pulled apart before they can be put back together.
Logical. Well, I'll be off with Brad for that little chat. I'll go to Shirley and Swift. While friend is distracted, they should be chip and chipper. Hmm.
It'll certainly be easier with him away.
Grease gets back to the trolley and out of the bus. Stomp and Friend are excitedly talking about torture and other methods of inflicting harm. She shows off a new hook weapon made recently. At the very least, Friend is distracted. The kids sneak out. Mike goes to electronics, have that chat. Linda with Shirley and Swift. Alright. I don't have to kill my throat anymore. Alright. Once more, Shirley is eating his peanuts, ignoring his soda while scanning the screens. Swift lies motionless nearby. Linda stealthily enters with a chair and plops it next to Shirley. Shirley never breaks from scanning the screens unless otherwise noted. Appreciated. Linda makes a good impression on him during their first meeting, hence he's not as surly. And now you don't like to be disturbed, friends elsewhere, so this was a perfect time to visit, and maybe talk. She scans as well. Shirley looks over to Linda with the briefest of glances, noticing the movement of her eyes. He returns to his vigil. Don't forget, Mike, and I have the screens covered. You didn't bother. He gets excited sometimes and doesn't realize the problems that can cause. Also, I'm just joining you. I doubt I'll see anything before you, by much. I'm mostly just trying to be of use. Impress a proper agent before joining tonight. Decided, huh? At least Mike might keep a friend busy out of here. You're welcome to watch and learn from me anytime. Appreciated. They watch in silence for 10 minutes. Oddly, Shirley breaks it first. Joining tonight rather than now. I suppose you're really here to ask questions of me and Swift. I'll start and Swift can go after. Swift's head nods slightly, suggesting he is awake and at least aware of the conversation. We were with Grease and Stomp earlier. Good to see a serious agent, Stomp. And a member of command. Shame she's got a bit of shame she's a bit girlish when it comes to friend. Takes a peanut. That's only because we're not under imminent threat. Grabs a soda. She's extremely capable in any situation. The same goes for Knopf and Ruth, despite their behavior. There may be some partnering afoot, but each person here for the best of what they do. Is the best at what they do. It was necessary to ensure success. Sips. Good call. Bureauc law enforcement is not to be trifled with. Cracks the peanut. If what I've seen of the others is anything to go by, they'd be screwed if they were any less skilled. Yourself and Vet are likely the only ones here who would be a minor challenge. Your training must have been top-notch. Eats peanut number 1. I was a natural at this and trained myself. I didn't sleep much, just a few hours. Rest my body further while eating or performing minor duties, moving only the minimum necessary. In the early days of my self-training, I would make mistakes between reality and my imagination from lack of sleep. But I have long since ironed out that problem. Grabs a peanut. Linda grabs peanut number 2. Is that why you milked that soda? This is just for taste. The sugars don't do much for me. Sips again, puts it down. Linda fiddles with the peanut. Your focus and concentration are incredible. I haven't met anyone who can scan as quickly and reliably as you. I can tell that you're not just looking at the screens. You're analyzing each with great accuracy. I imagine you can work at 100% every minute you're awake. None of my former employers ever recognized this. Puts peanut back, grabs another one. CAIRE, though, has keen eyes for talent. My years as a security guard taught me that the position's relatively pointless. Though that's just my opinion. No one's going to break in at 3 a.m., and even if they do, they'll be caught on cameras. Perhaps my former employers were expecting a mob, in which case one man can't do anything. It was all so stupid, I wasn't really needed there. Crush. I can understand that. Mike and I aren't really needed at the school. It's training. We're so much better at other tasks, but no one can seem to recognize it. That's not so much a problem now, not with the prospect of its offer. Crush. CAIRE's a good place to work. My nation's been associated with them for over a decade. They are quick to teach people about themselves. I do believe they can achieve world peace, but it's centuries away. It'll take more than dreams and promises, even if it takes some extremism. Chomps peanut, talks while chewing. Peace can be achieved in many ways, but CAIRE's methods are actually working. Linda chomps hers, talks while chewing. Which ones? Surely will swallow. Gulp. Using the associated nations to put pressure on troublesome ones, perhaps some infiltration and sabotage. I never said these were kind methods, but sometimes an iron fist is necessary. Some countries join more easily, without the need for force. Linda, still chewing. Is this what drew you to CAIRE? I imagine they didn't scout you from the mall. Swallows. No, I joined because I wanted a reward for my efforts. Something that proved I was there and useful. It was 10 years ago, in my mid-20s, and I signed up for the military division. I quickly flew up the ranks, and now I can expect immediate action. Now I can expect immediate action to be taken upon my word as a security chief. I also like being second in command next to Vet, a good feeling of responsibility. And Swift is here to take your commands and spread them around. Yep. Linda startles, not realizing Swift was actually awake. Yep. She turns to him, ceasing to watch the screens. Once Rad finishes with the walkies, Swift will serve as an emergency messenger in case we need to be under radio silence. We weren't expecting to find working electronics here. Is he like you? Nope, sits up, looks at Linda. I just sleep a lot so I can act when needed. Unlike Surly, I love to help in any way I can. Surly sips a soda, unfazed by this remark. You're particularly stealthy. I would figure a scout would be the messenger. Not stealthy per se, but fast. I love to run, and oddly enough, CAIRE apparently had a use for me. I had a buddy who enlisted and told his recruitment officer about me. This officer was ordered to keep a lookout for fast individuals for an upcoming mission. So it worked out perfectly for me. I started immediately as a foot messenger. I've been running messages for a few years now. Good fun. That is a unique job. CAIRE really takes all kinds. They make use of whatever and whoever they can to achieve their goals. I know them well. I was raised in the principles of CAIRE and know they will succeed in anything they attempt. Linda notes that Swift blindly follows CAIRE. He's a nice guy, but not the keenest. Must be because he was raised in it. Understandable, as Linda can't break away from her mindset either. His job here, though, is to deliver any messages from me to Vet. Otherwise, he ferries around supplies. Swift here is the only one allowed to sleep away the day. He is that important for emergencies. Puts down soda. Well, that's me. Lies back down for more sleep. And there you have it. I wanted my efforts to mean something, and Swift just wants to help. Nothing too important. It's good to know the people we'll be working with. I feel better knowing you have a head on your shoulders. We need at least a few good agents. Like Scout, reaches for the soda. And Tender, for that matter. About half of us are experienced, the rest are extra. Don't tell them I said that. Go ahead, you can take it. She takes soda. Best friend doesn't get his foot any further into your door. I heard Tender's story over the radio last night, but Scout is still unaccounted for. With these cams up, he watches the woods. If you call for him, he'll probably show. If he doesn't, just insult friend, or say I approve of you, or something. Well, I get a note with that. Sips. Even the warmest tastes nice. Just those words will get his attention. Though I doubt he would care if it's true. Will do. Salutes. Surly salutes back, eyes still scanning. Linda continues for another hour before heading out. She pats him on the back and exits. Shirley notes her dedication to focus and likes her personality. Linda meets up with Mike in electronics, who's still talking up the storm with Rad. The two boys are getting along well. Rad's really opening up to him. Good. Mike sees Linda and says his goodbyes. Rad clasps Mike's shoulder with a smile. Then he turns to his work, now with a greater insight. The kids exit the building, and Linda informs Mike on how to find Scout. Mike stretches after working over Rad. Man, can that guy talk. They head into the woods and start circling the campus. I wish Friend would stop with all the drilling. The moment he hears about torture, he just drops like a sack of bricks and twitches. How useless can you get? Shirley and I agree. While watching those screens, we bonded over our disgust at that man. So disrespectful. When he barged into the security room last night and bothered Shirley, it showed his self-centered idiocy in spades. He may even have spoken swift. What if something had happened and he wasn't fully rested? Seriously, Friend is single-handedly sabotaging this mission. The moment we join tonight, we're going to have to find something for Friend to do to give him away from everyone else. The man drops down beside the kids. They weren't startled this time as they were expecting something like this. The two turn to face Scout. Finally, we're on the same page. His only use is recruitment, and that, thankfully, was dealt with quickly. I'd hate to have been in your shoes, but you handled him well, even with the detour. We've learned so much about him already. Please, don't tell us there's more. I keep my nose out of it. Too much of a festering cesspool. So, is it my turn? It is, just a quick review, then you can return to patrol. We will be joining tonight, just need to know who we're working with. I dealt with Sterling and Swift earlier. They're good people. Scout nods. Let's get on with it. My land used to have on and off wars with several others, all over stupid crap that they wanted. I served for a few tours during the last one. Once it was over, we allied with CAIRE in hopes of avoiding more unnecessary fighting. Once we did, their influence put pressure on our enemies and they backed off. It's been peaceful since. However, despite enjoying this peace, I belong in stealth ops. I wanted to show my respect to my country's savior, and so about a decade ago, I joined CAIRE. Let's give her the about. I believe they can achieve their goal, but am not as diehard dedicated as the others. I am not as diehard dedicated as the others. However, I will lie down for my comrades here. Except Friend. For this mission, I guard the base to ensure no one gets in and to immediately report if someone does. Wow, so you're an experienced military man who just wants to thank your savior. Commendable. Mike is actually impressed by this. You're one of the better agents here. I think we'll get along well. There's nothing else, so I have to get back to work. Starts climbing the tree. Nope, that was the quickest interview we've had, but you gave us what we wanted. See you around, maybe. So you head back to the university for lunch. They sit in the far corner to avoid Knopf and Ruth. Friend, unfortunately, sits beside them and does his thing. Be annoying. They'll likely be stuck with him for the rest of the day. And they are. They wander around and look over the rest of the campus, all while dealing with Friend's attempts to joke and banter. As night approached, they managed to ditch him in a minor office. Told him they were playing hide and seek, he'll be waiting in the closet all night. At 8 p.m., Linda and Mike decide it's time to put their plan to work. Their only task this night is to join officially. Mike knocks and requests entry. Vet calls them in. Greetings are exchanged and they sit. Vet leaning forward, his hands in his lap. The kids both speak with interest and passion, not too much as they've made themselves known to be fairly plain. Oh, this is the long one. 15, 27. Okay, so some of the sabotage is on here as well, so I don't have to deal with that. Thank God. Alright. Let's deal with this. I am now out of water. I need to get more water.
Alrighty then. Back to this.
We finished talking to everyone, heard their stories and motivations. CAIRE is truly an accepting place to take in all these people who have vastly different talents, putting them to use and efficiently so. We are impressed with how much CAIRE is similar to Iraq in this way. Vet raises an eyebrow, but has managed a more lenient approach to in who performs what job. It's enlightening. Vet smiles. Mike is half lying. They see most here as their lesser, but can value how they've all been put together to achieve a grander goal. We know we'd be happier with CAIRE than Iraq, but understand that we aren't needed outside the borders. We are more comfortable with our own people, one way or another, but would like to be part of CAIRE and their goals. Mike looked to each other, nodding in unison. We wish to join CAIRE officially, in whatever capacity we can help, as long as it leads to Iraq's reform. Vet clasps hands before him, leaning elbows on the desk, nods.
I appreciate how you took your time, investigated, weighed your options, and then made your decision. I'd expect nothing less from a Iraq native.
The kids briefly think of Knopf, but say nothing.
I can see you are serious. Your dedication will be of great value to CAIRE. Let me say thanks, and welcome to the team.
Reaches out arms, and they each shake. You've talked a bit about what you like us to do. Shall we go over the details?
Of course. As you likely recall, we need people on the inside to feed us information. The kind of information we'll need will be of the highest level, from the leaders of the nation. Since you're set to become teachers, become the best of the best. Become the private tutors to the leaders' kids, and through them you may learn secrets. Pass them to us, and you'll be contributing well to CAIRE's efforts. This is my plan for you.
There are some problems with that plan. Even though the kids may overhear talks, it's very unlikely that what they learn would be of importance. The leaders would know that someone may overhear them, and any time would take precautions. Even if the kids learn anything, and presuming we can glean information without them realizing, we have a larger problem. You see, as private tutors working for national leaders, we would, in all likelihood, be living with them. How could we arrange for a message to be delivered to a CAIRE agent without being discovered? We'd already be under supervision as spies, or a real threat for a national leader. For just the two of us, we'd be up against a platoon of security detail, servants, and others who will catch us at some point. It would be impossible to send out any information.
That is a problem.
I have an alternative, one that is more easily accomplished and has no oversight. Instead of gathering the highest level information possible, we could use kids to gain common level info, to become the eyes and ears of CAIRE, mostly allowing agents to move more easily in town. We can accomplish this by running an orphanage, ours to be precise.
You wish to replace your headmaster. I imagine this would be difficult. Could you even do this with a teacher's profile?
Running an orphanage does involve teaching. We just have to underperform at the... We just have to underperform at our volunteer jobs a bit, but demonstrate a caring attitude towards the kids. This will make the transition possible. We can expose incompetency of our headmaster. We can dig around his office and perhaps plant a camera. He actually wouldn't notice. We'll also have to work the orphanage a bit, take care of sick kids, demonstrate our dedication to caring for them. Once we prove the headmaster's feelings to the state, an agent will assess the situation, and we should be able to convince him to allow us to take over. We'll have a profile fitting the role and verifiable proof we can do it. That is the simplest solution, and he should allow it. And at that point, we can pick the kids that are struggling the most and have private sessions with them. Officially, we're granting extra lessons, but we're actually gauging their personalities and abilities for a granted task. Yeah, that doesn't make sense for officially. They wouldn't actually do that. Here. Well, extra lessons is fine unless I don't show them. Alright, that's not that bad of an issue. I'm actually gauging their personalities and abilities for a granted task. We'll look for ones who can keep a secret perfectly, then teach them to be observant properly, in particular to read others very well. We will teach them the right way of the world and indoctrinate them to CAIRE's principles. That Bureauc's ways effectively lie and they'll agree to lie. They'll agree based on their experiences. These specific kids will become CAIRE's confidants. Vet slowly nods, taking in this new plan. He looks to them. This sounds pretty good. However, this would only reach a few. We need you to have more reach than this. What is this grander task you have in mind? I just reached twice. I need to fix this. Once these select kids grow up, they'll have been trained to properly select and teach others. They'll use the methods, the same methods as us when we were teaching them. In this way, CAIRE's influence will grow. This will take some decades to accomplish what you seek, but original task wasn't going to bear fruit for about as long anyway, right? Time is of little importance. Only progress is. As you say, it will take a long time to crack Bureauc. On the other hand, this grants plenty of time to prepare. Spreading CAIRE's influence would be of great aid. The plan for the future was to have as many agents as possible in nation, along with the other nations pressuring Bureauc from the outside, using their military presence. Our people would lead the citizens through a revolution. We target the ones who couldn't measure up in Bureauc, society like North, and those who yearn to work the dream job or were shut down like yourselves. That would have never worked. The people are too indoctrinated to Bureauc's ways. Turning even these two types would... Turning the two types you mentioned would be very hard. But this can be done if we have some help. Our plan can be done if we have some for you. No. But it can be done if we have some help from you. This is part of what our kids will be doing. They can't just talk about better ways to live, they have to prove it. We need something to show them, and they in turn can show others. Something that proves what we're saying is true. We need to show the kids that those with less than acceptable ability in the field can still succeed in it. They need to be forced into something else. Most dream jobs are like this, not quite attainable, and only because the nation denies them. We do have some tools that can demonstrate this point. Perhaps some video of an okay musician who are still paid well, and the like. Suing them is only part of this. We need to give them something they can reach for, rather than just dream. These possibilities don't exist in Brock, but they do in other nations. She gets some dots. But they do in other lands. As you're aware, our borders are strictly enforced. We know why. It would ruin the nation if our people left after getting their free education, and if it got an influx of useless people from other countries. This is exactly what people need to strive for. Open borders. To escape its slow death here and free themselves. The nation would never open up the country on their own, and anyone who attempts to persuade them will be met with harsh criticism and deaf ears. This is where you center revolution, rallying the people to demand borders open. Revolt against the wardens who keep them prisoner. That is quite a plan. Well thought out, and likely to work. Not only that, but with the sheer number of adults who have to work an unenjoyable job, you'll have a large base to work with. They must yearn for something more in their lives, and our kids can teach them. The ones who can be trusted, of course. With proof shown, their understanding of Iraq will shift towards the truth, and all years of suffering will come into a new light at once. This should galvanize them to keep the secret and work with our kids toward our goal. Our kids will teach them that they need what they need to know and be able to do. Then go out and spread our influence further. This process won't take too long per person, so a few decades will garnish tens of thousands of people, if not hundreds of thousands. The kids know this plan is not terribly practical, but think Vet will eat it up. Very good indeed. This is far better than anything I could have expected or hoped. Once this plan is ready to go, I can arrange for some video data to show the outside world troves of it. This will be the final push for your new recruits. This shall be a grand underground movement. This will need complete secrecy. In-person meets will have to be done in a residence. A bit of a talk, some video, perhaps meeting others. Then the plan shall come as you detailed. Spread the ways of CAIRE as far as possible, readying the people for revolution. We'll have some regular agents in Iraq by the time you begin, so you can make use of them for proof as well as the level of organization you have backing you. That's going to be risky. If the agents are caught, they'll lead to us. We can't have that. I'm sure you have the best of the best, but don't doubt the abilities of a standard adult in Iraq. It's only a matter of time before they be discovered. Then they'll have to hide out, perhaps in your impossible. The orphans will learn of them at some point. They may tell someone. True. Then we'll work out something else. Short stays will be best. Short term is best. We can have them stay, but could bring them in. Can't have them stay, but could bring them in. Only one at a time, and have them be special teachers to our chosen kids. A little reinforcement of what we've told and shown them. And afterwards, we can give the agents a message delivered to CAIRE, word of mouth only. Otherwise, we'll use payphones for this. Agreed. Though this won't come up for some time. When do you think you can take the orphanage? 5 years. We need to be adults to demonstrate our abilities. Then let's finalize this. Pulls out a walkie and calls in Surly and Stomp. After 10 minutes of light talk, Stomp comes in along with Surly. Tonight, we have gained 2 new recruits into CAIRE, Linda and Mike. We just discussed the job and will not be to gain national-level secrets. Instead, they will take over the orphanage in the years to come and teach the most struggling of the kids CAIRE's principles. These kids will, in turn, teach others who have struggled greatly. The goal is to strive for open borders, because only then can they reach other nations where the requirements for a job are remotely as strict, to escape this suffocating country. Since the leaders won't open up on their own, CAIRE will influence Iraq on the outside. The time is right. We'll begin the revolution for freedom from Iraq. Sounds doable. I like it. Linda, Mike, you are granted free roam of the grounds. At some point you will have to return to your orphanage, but for now you may stay. That is all. Dismissed. Stomp salutes and exits. She doesn't trust them, but she doesn't trust most. Linda should have a walkie for as long as they stay on the premises. One will be delivered to your room by tomorrow morning. Surly salutes and turns. He looks at Linda and briefly nods, approvingly. He too exits. The kids nod and exit. They head out bed for the night. Vet leans back in his chair, feeling accomplished, loses himself in thought. Okay. 8 pages left. Jesus. Let's see. After this, I have 3 more documents, so I should probably try to do this last document. I think 2 days leave the last 3. The next morning rolls around. Mike and Linda know that the time for action is now. They must do all they can to sabotage these people while they have the chance. However, these actions have to be subtle if they want to live. Mike will assist Vet in his affairs, perhaps glance over some documents. Linda will start the bus, ensuring it doesn't run the best. Mike will come in. On my first official day, I think I should learn from the best. Is there anything I can help you with? I've got my affairs in order. Perhaps spend the day with Rad. I already helped him as much as I could. Mike looks over Vet's office. Filing cabinets, haphazardly piled, papers sticking out of some, and dust on the edges of the room. I think this place could be a bit cleaner and organized. I haven't bothered, but you have a point. Very well, then, you may clean. The supplies, I believe, are stored within the hall, down the hall. Perhaps I'll even find something of use in the cabinets. Winks and turns to leave. I haven't bothered looking, but good idea. Mike spends the morning cleaning Vet's office and investigating the filing cabinets. The files are mostly student grades, procedures, but there is something of note. It seems the signals from the radio tower on campus would interfere with police radio waves. This would mean that every use of the radio could be picked up by authorities. Maybe Mike can arrange for Rad to test some things with it. A thought for later. Rad to... a lot of long transmissions. A thought for later. For now, he gathers all these useless documents, piles them in the boxes, and clears them out. At some point, Vet excuses himself to use the restroom. Mike remains, using this chance to snoop. He's seen where Vet keeps his documents in the drawers of the desk. Mike looks through them. Most reports and records, verifying Vet's story of how they found this place and what they've done since. There is one piece of paper that stands out. Contingencies. First, if the agents fail or are discovered, they will return by boat. The bus is in case they can't reach the canal. So sabotaging the boat in some way would leave them with the bus, which Linda is sabotaging herself. Second, if Linda and Mike had not agreed to join, then Vet would have done exactly what they thought, eliminate loose ends. Vet would have Stomp and Fisher take them to see the canal for themselves, and the dangers of the branching waterways. Then Stomp would strangle both in the boat, tie down their bodies with rocks, and dump them over. Mike understands why this contingency exists, but of course doesn't like it. He studies Vet's handwriting and places the documents back exactly as they were. Mike's plan? Forge some more contingencies. Plans to remove other agents. He will target Rad, Grease, and Fisher as they're the least dedicated to this cause and are the only ones that would, and may be likely to, break from CAIRE. The rest are too devoted, fanatical. He takes some spare papers and a pen for future forgeries. Vet will return to a mostly clear and clean office. Amazing. Just 3 hours that you have made this good is new. I can't underestimate the work ethic of you young people. There's no point in setting on a task if you don't dedicate yourself. I've done quite a bit here. I think I'll head to lunch and see what Linda's up to. Thanks for the opportunity to help you. Salutes. Salutes back. Glad to have you on board. Mike exits. Bed checks his desk to see that all is in order, verifying that Mike did nothing while he was away. A good sign. Linda heads into the garage, still as leaky as ever. I don't need that because it was mostly intact. She ponders how she's going to get Stomp to leave, but it seems the warrior woman is gone. Grease's roller is still beneath the bus. Alright, now for pain. How's it going, Grease?
Good. This thing's just about ready. I give it another hour until we're all set.
Linda pauses and looks around for fuel cans. She spots some stashed to the side. How do you plan to fuel this?
I gathered some old gasoline from the other buses. There was just enough to fill 5 cans.
Just the buses? Were there no spare cans around?
I didn't think to do that. I guess I was too excited to break into these buses. Beautiful pieces of mechanical art they are. I didn't think to look for the full cans. Just ones to fill up.
Well, I've got plenty of time. I'll give a good look around.
Thanks.
Linda now has an excuse to wander in the garage without suspicion. She'll dilute the gas Grease has gathered with water, but will need to dump some of the gas. She can't go outside due to the cameras, so she'll have to pour some into spare cans and hide them around. She spends 5 solid minutes looking for every can. She finds 4 full and 10 empty. The full ones are stashed in the worst of the decrepit buses in the storage space beneath. Linda stealths over to Grease's cans, easy enough with how lost she is in her work. A full one is swapped for an empty, in case Grease looks over and sees one missing. Linda returns to her cans and transfers half the gas into an empty. She grabs a bucket and a funnel. Using the Fisher pond, she can easily fill the rest of Grease's can with water. The can is returned to the Grease's pile, another taken. And the process repeats until all Grease's fuel cans are half full, and with full of gas and half of water. All the now full cans with Linda are stored into the terrible bus. She brings over the empties she found. I looked all over and found just these empties. Perhaps you'll find more elsewhere on the campus. Perhaps maybe an old storage we've yet to find. I checked the storage space of all the buses, but even they were devoid of anything but debris, nothing useful. Linda needs Grease to know that the storage spaces are now empty. If anyone looks, it'll cause problems. Where to look, it would cause problems. Buttons work. Alright.
That's a shame, but thanks for looking. We'll have to be especially careful with those cans. It's all the fuel we have.
Either way, I don't see Stomp. Is she guarding somewhere else?
No, she wasn't really guarding me yesterday. Just had nothing else to do. She's with Rand, discussing yet another one of her inventions, trading ideas on how to improve his performance. I'm not one for these talks, so I asked them to completely be a bee. I don't understand how some people can be so invigorated talking about hurting others so.
That's how CAIRE operates, you know?
Well, yes, for the extreme cases, but Stomp is just thirsty. I don't like friends' influence on her, but she can't help herself. She's in love.
Linda realizes that Grease doesn't understand that this is Stomp's personality. Love is preferably involved, but Stomp is very interested in the art of harm, and Friend is a master of the discipline. Grease is like a schoolgirl, lost in thoughts of love. Since she's not here, I'll help with anything I can. There's so few women here, after all. You're the only one in love with the sane one.
Linda!
Linda remains with Grease, actually assisting in whoever she can. However she can. This will earn some report, and make it more likely for Grease to defend Linda if something comes up, such as finding a bunch of full gasoline cans on a bus, should someone like Friend look. He'd definitely go on his own search if he learned Linda did one. The kids grab lunch, running into Friend, Stomp, Knopf, and Ruth. They grab some food, head elsewhere, the gymnasium, sitting unused and partially due to the missing roof, stink of putrid water. It appears the animals prefer this place to do their business. Grace is in over her head, acting like a love-struck fool. Thinks Stomp is in love with Friend, even if this were true, it wouldn't do anything for us, given Stomp's too dedicated for her work. Though on that note, Grease and Stomp are alike. Grease was on her trolley for most of the time I was with her. Lending some respect for the agents doesn't hurt. I've got Red in good condition, and you have both Surly and Grease. Agreed, as long as she doesn't learn I swapped half the gasoline she had gathered with water. That bus won't be traveling for long. I hid all the gasoline I could find, the most ruinous bus, and I told her I'd search everywhere so no one should look themselves. 4. I come through Vet's office, reports and found proof of our suspicions. He was going to kill us. Take us on a boat trip to the channel, have Stomp strangle us, and dump our bodies. They're not complete idiots. Although Fred's handwriting is unfortunately simplistic, I grabbed some papers and a pen. Contingency plan for the others. I suggest Fisher. He's the least dedicated to the job. He has no attachments to anyone here. He'd flee the first sign of trouble, just give him a little push. I was thinking Red and Grease, as they can actually do something, but I'll add Fisher as well. Better idea. Just cover Grease and deliver the plans directly to Rad. He'll show her and they'll work together. Good point. I'll write up something and you deliver to Fisher. I'll take care of Rad. Plans. Fisher is a liability and not trustworthy. Should he be captured, he'd spill everything before they put him to the table. Best we take him out since he's once the second batch of agents arrive. He'll head out on a boat with someone. You'll kill him in the channel. Knopf won't because he wouldn't want to leave his homeland before burning it down. Stomp can deal with this. Stab his neck, dump the body. We've seen the way in. We don't need his sense anymore. Let this be a lesson to anyone who thinks they can give anything less than 100% to CAIRE. Grease has been useful, but there are plenty who can fill her role. Her lack of dedication to the cause is alarming. Her misunderstanding of how we work has only hindered her. She's not one of us, not truly one of CAIRE. If things turn to the worst, you'll use her as a human shield and kill her later. We can't have CAIRE members who aren't on the right page. Alright, they go back to Fisher in the basement, at least Linda does. Fisher's just watching the calm canal waters. She sits next to him. For 10 minutes she'll speak. It's pretty calming, not all hustle and bustle like up above. Quiet, too. I like it. It's what I enjoy, just watching the water, the tiny flows. Needs more life. I miss the sea. Then maybe you should head back. I wouldn't get paid. Plus, CAIRE wouldn't be too fond of me abandoning the mission. You can't hide from them. You may want to try. Mike found something in Pet's office that may interest you. Let me ask, is this job worth your life? Can't get paid if you're dead. Fisher slowly turns to Linda, who presents the forged plans. He looks them over, eyes ever steady. I need those back before Vet finds them missing. He hands them back. Fair point. They're the type to do this, but should have been honorable about paying me. Shame. They kill whoever they wish to accomplish the job. Sometimes without reason. I already heard of some of Knopf's exploits executing prisoners for fun. This is like breathing for CAIRE. Tie up any and all loose ends. Mike and I will be safe in Bureauc, as our task is years away. But you... We have just one boat here. I could leave, but others are due to arrive in some days. They'll learn I abandoned the others and just turn back and inform CAIRE. You could wait until they arrive, sabotage the other boat. Sabotage their boat. Then leave. Just say they were discovered and you were the only one to escape. It would buy me some time at least, borrowing what we've actually discovered. I don't think you'd sell him out, not with the official, not without official friend of vet still alive somewhere. You'd be on your own, but I had to tell you at least. You're not obsessed with CAIRE like the others, although that's why if Vet wants you gone, it's not something that can be changed now. I didn't want to see someone who's just kinda here get killed for them. There's no point. Cold but true. I'll go with the second option, maybe flee to a country untouched by them. At least I'll get one last trip in before a storm takes me. Thank you, you can return those now. Alright, they separate. Time for Red. Yo, bud. Hey there, what brings you over? Just wanted to check on things. See how things were doing. And wondering if you might have stuck off to see Greece. She's not will stop, you know. You could get a few words in. Okay, that's enough. We're not like that. But you haven't spoken to her for a while, right? There's a lot you'd have to catch up on. And I hear she's very... I hear she was visibly blushing last night when your name came up. I may just be 14, but the feelings you two share are obvious. Alright, it wasn't last night, it was last... morning. She did, like, a lot. Mike nods. Well, then maybe I should have a talk with her. You really should. Walks right up to Rad and looks him dead in the eye. Seriously. Whoa, I can handle myself. But can you handle both yourself and Greece? Can you be the protective lever she's going to need? What's with this all of a sudden? I was in Vet's office today to get a feel for the man. He's going to be our contact in CAIRE after all. I found some documents in his desk. Mike, you shouldn't go stooping like that. He's commander here. He'd kill you if you found out. He'd have killed me regardless, and Linda. Rad steps back awkwardly, a look of confusion and shock on his face. That's why I'm here. There were contingency plans in the desk. I found the ones for me and a friend, one for Fisher, which Linda is showing him, and one other for Greece. That can't be. Show me. Mike presents the plans. Rad reads it over, his face growing more terrified with every word. His face pales. Is this audible? Oh, my head scratches are impossible. Alright. I can't believe this. After all she's done, just to kill her. That sweet little girl. Sweet little girl. So, well, if she's not that into CAIRE, they have all sorts of staff. Why bring her here if they wanted her dead? This is just so careless. Mike rests a hand over Rad, still clutching the plans. I think we both know why. Only she could handle a task like this, fixing up a university quickly. At the same time, they can remove someone who never quite understood her situation. Someone who wouldn't offer her life upon request. Her family will never know how she died. It's perfect. Crumbles to the floor, his legs losing all strength. Drops the plans and punches the floor. Tears streaming. Ground. Punches the floor. He is fully aware that CAIRE would do this, but can't handle the fact they doctored her. This isn't the end, though. You now know what's to happen. You can act. Escaping may be difficult for now, but you can protect each other until the time is right. Maybe come up with projects that absolutely need Greece. If you're lucky, you'll both be allowed out of here without an escort. Then you can disappear. You'd fit in okay in Birak, Greece as well. I think you can hide from CAIRE and the authorities fairly safely. Just blend in as much as you can, but this all hinges on you. Mike gets on one knee and looks Rad in the eye. A man 10 years his senior. You have to be her savior. You're right, sniffs. If only I can protect her. Rad stands swiftly, shakily but firm his stance. I'll have to talk with her. Show her the plans yourself, but I need those back before Vet realizes they're gone. If any of these are missing, he'll know I took them. Then we'll all be out of time. I'll run over. Maybe some equipment here you want to look at? Yep. Julie's going to notice a panicked rat on the cams. Right. Perhaps here on in, I'll take a camera here and suggest installing some on the bus, after minimizing the size, of course. Might as well be careful if we need to make use of that thing. Once in the garage, I'll show grease and talk things over. I'll come back and give you back the plans. Sounds good. I'll be fixing up some of these the best I can in case friend stalks in or something. Oh God, what have I gotten myself into? CAIRE's gifted at tricking people into joining. This can't be uncommon. You, though, have the chance to avoid this plight, together with your soulmate. You're a good kid. No, a good man. I'll remember you, but will keep my distance. For both of our sakes. He turns to leave, and then stops dead. What are your plans? We'll keep to what we said we'd do, but it's going to be really hard to get good, reliable intel from kids. They tell all sorts of lies, even here. That they do, smiles and exits. Mike thinks to himself, that they do. Oh, I lost a page on this. Unfortunate. Brad does as he says, meeting with Reese for a talk. He shows her the plans. She breaks down. He comforts her, confessing his feelings. She hugs him back, confessing hers. They discuss their options and come to an agreement. After finishing up and returning to their duties, Brad reunites with Mike to return the papers, a look of purpose on the man's face. Mike nods and goes to the gym, where he rips them up and stuffs them into an old sack in the storeroom. He and Linda will return to the orphanage the following morning. They just have to manage one last night here. Oh, it's 27 anyway, so that works out. So part 5 was 27. Then what was part 4? Is 37. Yeah. Alright, going well so far. Just a few more left, and then that'll be it for this proofreading. So we have Timothy's crap, the end, and the other end. Alright, voice hasn't died yet, so that's a good sign.